what I thought mattered in the beginning didn't. Logo doesn't matter.
Okay.
Business name doesn't matter. I would use like a keyword, like maid cleaning service, so like that people know yours is Ari's cleaning service. But yeah, I remember when I first, and actually I could probably put it up on the screen, I'd have to find it. I couldn't afford to have anyone do my logo, so I taught myself to create a logo, and I spent like a week designing this logo.
Yeah.
That didn't matter.
It didn't matter. That's true.
At the end of the day, what matters is providing a good service.
Oh yeah.
Like the customer cares about, are you on time? They don't really care about shirts.
You're right. Or your uniform. Or anything
really.
like that. Yeah.
Obviously, you want to look presentable.
Yeah.
But it is funny looking back. I don't know. I don't want to speak for you, but for me, it's like what I thought mattered. It didn't.
It didn't. That's true. I agree with you. Bonjour les amis, c'est moi, votre ami Ari. En tout cas, comme on l'avait dit l'autre fois, nous continuons avec notre série, avec notre invité, toujours sur business de nettoyage. Et là, nous allons essayer un peu de vous parler de comment on avait commencé notre entreprise de nettoyage. Et si aujourd'hui, on devait reprendre à zéro, commencer notre entreprise de nettoyage, par où on devait commencer. Alors, c'est un peu ça. Et vous allez nous suivre jusqu'à la fin. Au moins, avec ça, vous saurez où vous pourriez commencer et où vous, comment faire pour lancer votre entreprise de nettoyage. C'est un peu ça. Welcome again, Taylor. I'm happy to have you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'm excited to continue our video series.
Yeah. If we had to start all over again, where would we start?
So I guess the ultimate thing is beginning with the end in mind. Where are we going? Where do we want the goal of the business? For both of us, we're a profitable business. So it'd be like a monetary, dollar amount. Like what do we want to get? What do we want to pay ourselves? And then work backwards from there. Like what does it take? For me, I know this wants to be more of like a lifestyle business. I don't want to have to work a ton of hours.
Right.
I like it to run itself. So what are the systems that are going to need for that? Someone to answer the phones, someone to do the cleaning, someone to do the hiring, quality control,
right,
things of that nature.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you're talking about going backwards, right? And what I've noticed is that when we get started, we have the excitement and everything, and you almost kind of like start with things that don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? I know in my videos I've spoke a lot about flyers. I've had my followers who have asked me about flyers, asking me about the logo, company name, and all of that. But those things, do they really matter?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I'd say logo really doesn't matter. Like you want something that's gonna be professional but like simple.
Right.
You don't want to get lost in it. Honestly, just like stock footages, you want to have a business that is successful. And then once you have that money, then you can kind of get into branding.
Right.
But building those trusts with the customer, and to answer your question, as far as name,
right,
it doesn't really matter.
Because I've noticed that many people, like I said, my followers will ask me about, when they ask me about how to start, they will go with the flyer and, all of that. And, they spend so much time into creating a flyer, trying to choose a name and everything. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's important to have a flyer, but that's not where you want to put all your focus and everything. You can create something very simple, and we can display a flyer that I have. For me, it's very, very simple. Just describe what we have, and like the logo, you don't have to go, I don't know, you don't have to spend too much time on that. And like you said, at the end of it, it's what matters is the service that you are providing to your customers. And just make sure that you make them happy, and
absolutely,
the relationship that you build along the way with them.
Absolutely. And kind of getting back to the logo, before we started rolling here, I was joking with, when I first started my first cleaning business, I spent like a week and a half designing a logo.
Right.
And I didn't have any money. I couldn't afford to hire an actual artist to do it, whether even it was like $50. I couldn't afford that. So I went ahead and designed this extravagant logo, and I could have been using that time to do market research.
Right.
figuring out what the customer wants. So it was a lot of wasted time. I don't regret it.
Right.
But it wasn't the best use of my
Now
time.
at least you have a beautiful logo now. Yes, I agree.
I don't even use it anymore.
Yeah, I think for mine, I don't remember what software I used, but something that I had to pay like $2.50
Okay.
for. It wasn't something like, but I've been using it until now. I put it on my invoices and everything. I mean, yeah, the logo is nice. It kind of like make you look professional,
Right.
but it's not really something that you really want to spend all your time on. Yeah.
Go ahead. The logo is not going to make or break a deal. What's going to make or break a deal is you answering the phone, sounding friendly, showing up on time. If you have literally the two businesses and you have a prettier logo than mine, the customer's not going to, well, I shouldn't say every single one.
I agree.
But I can guarantee 9 times out of 10, if I'm professional, I show up
Right.
and I have an ugly logo, they're going to choose me.
Okay.
Just because I'm providing a quality service.
I agree.
Yeah.
And what about flyers? Let's talk a little bit about flyers.
So I haven't actually had wild success with flyers. I actually designed a handful of them. I can throw them up on the screen. I didn't have wild success with them. What works for me, I guess it'd be considered a flyer, but a digital flyer on social media.
Right.
And my thought processes behind it is I want to be where the customer's looking for a cleaning service on Google.
Right.
And you want to kind of show up there.
Right.
That's not to say flyers don't work. There are people in the industry that do phenomenal with flyers.
Yeah, I can tell on my part of the business, I did create a flyer. Like I said, it wasn't anything like, I don't have a bunch of designs or anything on it. It just like outlines like what services I offer. And, at one point, and I know I did a video that I posted on my channel before, how and where, I went to, and kind of, I would say my very first few customers, I got them with flyers, right? Because I went to door to door and dropped them off. I used my son to go distribute them to people and all of that. Yes, it does work, but I've just noticed that many people spend so much time and money putting all the effort into the flyer, and I don't know if that really matters.
At the end of the day, would you say it was the flyer that sold the customer, or your personality and your kindness and showing up?
Because it did get my foot into the door,
Okay.
I can say. It's not a part that we can neglect, but we don't want to spend too much time into, or too much resources into creating a flyer.
Absolutely.
It can be as simple as, like the flyer that we can post, that people can look at, but it doesn't have to be, you don't have to spend all your time and money into a flyer.
One thing, and I got this from somebody that was doing very successful with flyers, and they tried to make the flyer interactive. And you kind of got creative with that, and you're like, okay, how can you make a flyer for cleaning interactive?
Right.
But they would put like those magic erasers on there. They would give that to the customer, so it's something they can use.
Okay.
One thing that's actually worked for us, and I haven't done it in a while, but we would, when a new customer signed up with us, I would give them branded coffee mugs. Because who throws away a coffee mug?
Right.
And your brand's always in front of them. So
you know what? One thing I've had to put on the flyer, which also did get me, a couple of customers, was I had to offer 2, and I remember, so it was 2 hours of free cleaning that I had offered, and I did mention it on the flyer. That could be something that can attract, but it doesn't have to be like it could be just as simple as a writing, and you put on there, and your pricing too, making sure that I know the price is the first thing that attracts customers, right?
Okay.
Yeah, when they see something like that, you put a dollar amount on there, and then you offer. There's an offer of something on there. I think that can attract customers as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually something I'm gonna have to disagree with you a little bit on that.
Okay, that's
challenge
fine.
it.
Yeah.
And just the reason being, I don't want my price point to be the reason the customer goes with me.
Okay.
I want to sell them on value. And
Well, I mean, for me, it was just to try and put my foot in the door. I don't know. It could be just a strategy that I chosen, but yeah.
If it works, it works. I can't
Yeah.
knock it. I can't knock it.
Well, so you tell me how that works with you. I mean.
So again, like I don't want to compete on price, because what I've noticed competing on price, it's a race to the bottom. The customer's going to go with whoever's the cheapest person. I don't want to be the cheapest. I want to be the most expensive.
Okay.
In fact, I think that's what made.
Tell me more about that.
So I forget the actual terminology, but what happened was, and I think what made the company kind of launch, I did competitor research, and you know, say it was like X dollars to clean it, I came out and I was the most expensive person. And I think that piqued curiosity. It's like, okay, why is this company so much more expensive? Like, I wasn't even in the ballpark.
Okay.
I was just the most expensive. But that wasn't by design. That was my ignorance. I didn't know what to choose. I was like, I'm just gonna throw out a number. But looking back at it, I think customers like, why are they so much different? Like, what makes this company?
Right.
So I put me in like my own league accidentally.
Right.
Like, this wasn't by my design.
Yeah.
But I think it worked.
Which kind of customers you target? Do you think that could be the
I think so. And it wasn't 100% perfect because at that higher price point, they had high expectations. They may not have told me.
Right.
But they're scrutinizing, okay, I'm paying X more. I could hire this other company that's like half the price. So they're looking like, okay, what is different about them?
Okay.
But I wasn't knocking it. I was making good money out the door. It really hasn't.
Well, like for me, like I always say, there's no set formula to it. You know,
no.
everybody has their own experience. Like you're saying, for you, you don't want your customers to look at the price to have that as a point of hiring you as a cleaning business. But for me, it worked, right? So there is no set formula as far as
No, I agree.
Yeah. So.
And I think that's what makes this industry so lovable because you can be successful and take two different paths.
Right.
I mean, look at us. I mean, we've literally built two different companies. We've come together and put our heads together and it's worked.
And work together, yeah. And so tell me about websites.
So for me, a website was the vital. Like that's the first thing I invested in was an actual website.
Okay.
I had like no money. I spent all my money on a website.
I can tell you I went about 2 years without a website and I was doing just fine.
See, that's just it.
Right.
Two different paths. There's so many. You have to do what's right for you.
Right. So there's no set formula. Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah. Many people are successful on social media. They use social media no problem, and they just get there.
That's just it.
You know. So.
And I think you being a lot more personable and comfortable.
Right.
I'm an introvert. I want to be behind the scenes. So for me, it was having an internet presence. But we're gonna get two different customers.
Right.
I'm gonna get a customer that's gonna look for somebody online.
Right.
You're gonna build that relationship.
Like I said, I went door to door and drop off flyers, and it didn't work for me.
Honestly.
And I still have customers today that did receive my very first flyer. They went from being a residential customer to a commercial because somewhere they
got that relationship.
we got that relationship, and they really like our type of business is very based on referral as well. So it did do that for me. So.
Honestly, we're making this video about what we would do differently if we were to come together, and I think it should be that we should have a website, a door knocker, so we're hitting it from both angles.
Right.
Because look, you went this route, I went this route. We both have had success. So starting from scratch, let's bring that success together.
Right.
So if you have the manpower, woman power, I would tackle it.
Right.
And this is all individual. Me personally, I would go back to the website because that's what I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
What about you? Would you invest in a website or would
I've invested in a website, but
starting from scratch. Would you go back to door knocking and building those relationships?
Well, it worked for me,
it
so
did.
I would still go back that route. I would still invest in a website along the way. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
still because what I've noticed is for other customers, of course you put your foot in the door, but at the end of it, they will ask you if you have any social media or
they're gonna research you.
Or they want to research you to just make sure that you are official.
Yeah.
But like I said, I started without, but came to build my.
But
website.
you're personable, you're trustworthy.
Yeah.
Honestly, in a perfect scenario, if you can hit the best of both worlds, I think that would be ideal.
Right. I agree.
For me, I don't really have that approachable, personable skill set like you do. So that was your unfair advantage, and it worked for you. For me, it was designing websites. I was behind the scenes, and it worked.
Yeah. And that's how I found you. I found you on the web, so it's funny. It's funny how that went, but yeah.
But that's kind of what why my passion is so deep in this industry because I shouldn't say there's no wrong answers, but there's so many different paths to get to success. Yeah. And creativity is.
Yeah.
You can go as far as you want with that.
Oh yeah. I've had so many people asking me how, there's so many hows in the cleaning business, but and there is no set answer. There is no formula. Like I said, it's just like
try it.
How, you know, like you said, creativity, how you do it, how you do your thing. You can come up with something new, and you know, as long as people buy into it, that's all that matters.
At the end of the day, I think the one that moves the fastest and tries the most is going to be the most successful.
I agree.
And because you're gonna fail a lot, but you want to fail fast and move forward. I call it failing forward. Like you're literally just pushing yourself forward. Try this, try that.
Right.
It might, and what might work in one area, one person might not in a different.
Right.
Like if we were in Miami or something, you might have had 2 different outcomes.
I agree. I agree.
But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just
it's what works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's beautiful, and it says a lot about you because you built those relationships.
I have.
In business, I'd say that's the number one thing. I mean, look at us. I mean, we've known each other for almost 3 years now, and then we're coming together and making this video series.
Sharing the experience with other people.
So no matter which route you go, whether it's building it in person, door knocking, or at the website, you need to have that relationship. By far, that is going to be the strongest.
Definitely, I agree.
Because look at it. I mean, you said a lot. A customer trusted you. You were once a stranger. Now they trust you to come into their home.
Come into their home.
And then you've proven yourself, and then say, hey, our job needs a cleaner.
Right.
You've built that relationship.
Yes.
I'd say at the end of the day, if we were starting from scratch, I would invest as much time as I could building relationships.
Yeah, relationship is the key. I agree. Like I said, my very first client was a residential, and that residential got me into commercial. And it's you know, it's the best relationship I've ever had with the client. And you know, like you said.
Well, I think we've answered a lot of questions. Again, this is very informal. We want to have a conversation. Be as raw as possible. And if we need a more structured environment, if you guys want something answering your questions, leave comments down below.
Give us comments. Your questions really do help with our next videos. Okay. In our next videos, are we going to talk about building relationship?
I think that's a perfect segue of jumping into it, building relationships, and then I think we should touch on residential versus commercial.
Okay, I agree.
I've only got a little bit of experience in commercial. Honestly, I've learned a lot mostly from you when it came to commercial.
Right.
But I think relationship building and then kind of residential and commercial.
Yeah, and we can talk about how I started with going residential into commercial. That would be a very good next topic for our videos.
Awesome. So we'll do it, and we hopefully see you guys there. And then
don't miss out on that one. It's very, very important, and very it will be good.
Absolutely. And if you guys are getting any value from it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.
And we will see you in our next video.
Ciao.
Ciao.